Welcome everyone to our third episode of CoachCast. We are all here to have a beautiful conversation about future-proofing your career in the age of AI. As you all know, if you've joined us before, we are really truly on a mission to ensure that we keep the human at the center of the future of innovation. And all of us are so thrilled to have many of your familiar faces back. If you've been with us before, please say hi in the chat. If you're a first timer, we would love to know who you are, where you're joining us from. And because today's conversation is about careers, we would also really love to hear what role you're in and or what niche or industry you're in to understand how AI might be impacting all of you. And as you know, so many of us are anxious to really know how our roles might be impacted by all of the innovation that's coming down the pipe, right? Not only are our careers shifting, but we are also needing to adapt as we go. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. Maybe it's less about losing our jobs to AI than it is about adapting with AI, right? So with no further ado, I want to remind everyone to please engage, share questions, and ask and share your insights in the comments as we go. And otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to your incredible hosts, Cully Jaswal and Wagner Denuzzo.
Thank you, Gabby, and hello, everyone. Super excited to be back again, and we're really honored, actually, and excited for this topic. But before we dive in, we'd love to center ourselves. It's October the 1st. I don't know how you're all feeling about that, but that in itself is like it's that time of the year. So we'd love to just do a short moment to arrive and help to ground ourselves before we sort of explore this exciting topic. So with that, if you will, just finding a comfortable position with your feet firmly on the ground, relaxing your shoulders, having your backs upright, and either closing your eyes or softly gazing down. And just bring attention to your body. Just noticing your feet touching the ground and feeling the earth beneath you supporting your whole body. And bringing attention to your breath. Not trying to control it anyway, just simply noticing each inhale and exhale. Just see if you can slow it down a little, breathing from the belly and observing the breath rise and fall like waves through your body. Remembering that your breath is with you as your anchor point whenever you need it throughout the day. We invite you all to come to the session with an open mind, thinking about what brings meaning to your work and what brings you joy, being open to the possibilities and being centered, even without having all the answers during this complex time. And with that, gently open your eyes and welcome to our third episode.
Thank you so much, Cully. This is so timely, isn't it? Because the human nature is to gain control over the environment, over our lives, and we do have a drive to feel safe. And safety and control are precarious right now. And I think we all share the sentiment that we don't know the future. Cully and I were talking about this episode, and one thing that became very clear is there is no playbook for us to offer the new generation, the new workforce, and the workforce that's in place right now. What we need to understand is how much do we need to be centered within ourselves to understand how can we leverage our skills beyond the technical skills, beyond your role requires, because we all have the capabilities that are hidden sometimes. What we need is to really find out what they are. But this is a very good episode for all of us because I think we are all questioning a little bit. What is the future of AI and what's the impact? I think Cully did some research. I think it was in the Summit Week in New York that you found out, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and it was like 80% of leaders are recognizing that new skills are going to be required for everyone, right? Regardless of what level you are. So just with that, like regardless of your role, industry, whatever, we all have to be prepared to learn new skills. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we think they are.
Yeah, but the thing here, yeah, I think that we are missing, sometimes we miss the boat here because the boat is not floating on the same waters of yesterday. The
Mm-mm.
waters, the ocean waves are changing. You talk about waves, I think is very timely here because what we need to understand is that even our roles, the way we imagine our careers, the way we imagine entering an organization today is through role descriptions that we see online and all this. We need to start getting used to the idea that actually we need to understand what is the value that we need to create for organizations, what organizations need to do to change the conditions so new roles emerge. We've seen this. Actually, I had a new role in 2019 when I was hired as the head of future of work capabilities at Prudential. That was the only title I ever seen like that. You know, head of capabilities for future of work. Nobody had that job before me there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to get used to the idea that actually we need to believe in our ability to learn, believe in our capacity to stand this anxiety because I think we talked about this before, the imposter syndrome. There will be a lot of imposter syndrome coming up because AI is new. I
Mm-hmm.
just read an announcement about Microsoft. To be honest, all these skills that we thought were so sacred, you know, knowing how to build a PowerPoint, knowing how to do a spreadsheet, those technical skills that the early in career feel very proud of having, and we all had that experience,
Mm-hmm.
actually now being challenged because you can easily build beautiful PowerPoints with Microsoft Copilot. You can build incredible spreadsheets. You can do Python coding. You have to start exploring what we haven't explored yet.
Exactly. And it reminds me of a conversation I was just having even with my son, who's 19 doing engineering. And he's like, Mom, you can use AI to do all these algorithms. Like, why am I even here at college? And I think that's just so fascinating. And it's a topic which like is really important because we're not saying that these skills are no longer going to be needed, but it's that point of what else is there and what's the human element behind all of these that we need to build on to be able to use these technologies. Like technology is developing way faster than companies can keep up with, and individuals can even sort of get our heads around. So we need to be prepared to adapt as needed and be at the forefront to try these technologies so that you're developing a skill set which maybe no one has, whichever industry you're in. So the other thing that I feel is really important is like, yes, we are Gen Xers, right? And that older generation where we started our careers, we believed we were going to be in one field, right? There was going to be a linear career, work our way up. I joined the Big Four and started as an accountant and thought I'd work my way up to partner. However, that no longer is happening, right? You're not in one company, right? Everyone is shifting companies every few years, but not just companies, skills, roles. So I feel that non-linear career is going to be is here now, and it has been already for the last 5-10 years. But I feel new even graduates who are joining the workforce now, being prepared that it doesn't mean to say you're doing one skill and that's what you're going to be doing. No, it's that importance of that continuous learning, thinking ahead. How can you apply those skills to different roles, which is going to be critical.
And it's interesting listening to you. One thing that's happening also is not only for the new entrants, the early in career, I've been working with a lot of university students to bridge that gap in skills and all that. There is a lot of fear of not finding a job right now, right?
Yeah.
So we understand that there's anxiety. But for those who have jobs, people are very afraid of what's going to happen to their own safety and their own roles. And the reality is, I didn't have a linear career because by necessity, I immigrated to the United States at 22, no English, no money, no plans. It wasn't a really easy transition. But I work in restaurants, I clean tables, I did a lot of things after college. So I never had the expectations that things would be gradually getting better.
Mm.
Actually, I finished college, I had to start cleaning tables after college. So that's not exactly what you aspire to
Mm.
become. But it's not about the aspirations to always go up vertically. The
Mm.
whole idea of this vertical climbing, this whole idea of established pathways, and the idea of making yourself really feel that if you don't achieve what you believe you need to achieve, you're going to be a failure. That needs to change
Mm.
because there is no failure in trying new opportunities.
Mm.
It really there isn't.
Exactly. And I've seen it now, just as sort of a career and executive coach, like seeing people in their 40s, 50s, 60s completely shifting
Yeah,
careers. So I feel like what I'm seeing now, though, is like kind of regardless of what age you are, that mindset of being open to trying new things, having that curiosity to learn new things and sort of be ahead of the game. That's what's going to be
yeah.
critical, and being creative. So yes, using the technology that's out there and finding new ideas and finding new ways of working with that. And I think it's actually quite fascinating. Bill Gates actually just shared something recently that we'll all be working. He predicts that we'll all be working 3-day work weeks by 10 years time. And I love that. Like, I just feel like that, again, with the whole burnout and people are just overworked and stressed all the time. So I feel like if we can have hope that we can still earn the same amount of money,
Yeah.
but and be more productive in 10 years time, and use the technology to support us and not have it stress us out so much. Like, I do see the hope in that.
But,
Obviously, we don't know.
and
Mhm.
now listening to you, and we talk about this all the time, there is so many perspectives on this. And that's what, in your moment to arrive, you talk about an open mind. It does require somebody to really open their mindset to the possibility of a totally new opportunity, totally new career, other skills and learning. But I want to go back to the Wall Street Journal article from last week.
Mm.
Well, we talk about the Gen Zs, the new generation. And by the way, I think it's becoming very clear. The idea of segmenting the whole workforce by generations is not working very well. It's almost like putting BRGs in their own communities and leaving them in isolation. We are not in an isolated moment. We are in a very transitioning moment. Everybody's talking about this transitionary moment. And I think that's the hardest because that's where you feel the pains of transition. You're going to have that experience. So the collective experience is not great yet
Mm.
because we are dealing with a lot of gaps in understanding what it is.
Mm.
However, Wall Street Journal, again, it's the mindset that everyone entering the workforce should be doing exactly what Gen Xers did before, the millennials did before. And that's a really narrow, fixed mindset, to be honest. Because the journal says, the article, if you didn't read, it says that now companies are letting go of Gen Zs because they're disappointed with the productivity.
Mm.
It's like, can we be real for a second? We know the burnout, stress, and all the negative impact of this incredible race to achieve the quarterly earnings, the profits, and the competition is not working for most people.
Mm.
So, how about organizations and us start working together to understand that the expectations that the new generation or everybody's having right now after COVID and all this is that we have to achieve some harmony between our own lives, what we really deem to be valuable in our lives, what's really important to us, the purpose, the meaning, and this crazy race. Because let's be real, I think we talk about this too. Technology will never reach technology advancements in time. Technology is advancing too quickly.
Yeah.
We're never going to catch up.
Yeah.
So why don't we accept that and accept that too much of this race towards technology is going to harm us?
Yeah.
More important for us to connect with each other and not focus on content, but connection.
Yeah.
Because content, we can do it. And one thing, I'm going to give a trick for most people looking for a job here. One day I was working with a company. They were talking about skills. I was helping them with telemarketplace and all that. And there was a big five. I won't mention the name, but one of the big fives was there doing assessment, what the marketplace was saying, what their competitors, the whole benchmarking. And I went in, and what I did is this. I asked ChatGPT to go to the career site of that company and really study what are the skills most needed for that company, most in demand, because you could tell, right, from all the job postings. And I came back to this session with the big five, and I said, from my research, these are the key skills that are most in demand for this company, for this industry. And sounds like these are the gaps that you're trying to fill by upskilling, reskilling, or buying new skills. And they said, how do you know that? This is exactly our top 10 skills. I said, you don't need to be a genius.
Mm.
You ask ChatGPT to assess, and that's how you do it. As
Mm.
an individual, independence is going to lead to very creative ideas. As an immigrant, I guess I did this because I'm always trying to be creative if you don't have the resources. But ChatGPT can help you even there to assess what are the skills most needed for the companies that you want to work in, your industry.
Mm.
And the other thing is, access creates the growth that you expect. So, access, if organizations need to do anything, is give people access to this technology, give them access to play with it. Because pretending that, oh, your employees are not allowed to use ChatGPT or AI at work is really not working, because people can access through their phones, they can access anyway. And access accelerates growth.
Yeah.
I really believe in that.
Yeah, and two things that I just want to pick up on there is one, just from learning from the new generation. I think that's really important,
Yes.
and being open to this notion of reverse mentoring, right? So we've
Yes.
always been mentoring as someone more experienced and learn from them, but now it's the notion of actually what can we learn from Gen Zs, because they've been raised with technology, and right, they are 10 steps ahead of us, right? So we need to be able to be prepared to learn from Gen Zs and vice versa. So we're learning from each other to adapt and be prepared for this new way. And then the other area is reminding yourself as individuals of the 3 E's. So in your own individual careers, rather than seeing it as that sort of linear career, continuously expanding your experience, right? The work that you're doing, education, what new skills can you do? And then the exposure. How are you building your network, your exposure out in the marketplace to do that? But we also have a great tool that we'd like to share today.
Yes, we can keep talking about this, but we have a guest today, and it's very special because it's very incredibly valuable for us to start thinking, how might we create the culture in our organizations? How might we give access to the resources our people need? And we need to be creative, and we have a guest that's very creative, Catherine Van Yen, KVJ. We call her KVJ. She's amazing. She's the founder of Tough Day. And I can't wait for you to hear about this, because Tough Day, I was there a year ago when we started talking about this, and Catherine shared with me her idea. I thought it was fantastic. And before I mess it up, because I think Catherine knows better, I'm going to ask you, KVJ, what is Tough Day?
Yeah, and I do want to say I'm co-founder and
Co-founder, yes.
don't forget Alberto.
Alberto, my compatriot.
That's
from
right.
Brazil.
That's right. Thank you so much. It's so lovely to be here with you. Tough Day is what we call employee resilience AI. And really, it's an AI platform that's designed to help workers, employees navigate tricky situations at work, confusing situations or conflict, in the teachable moment. So building capability and confidence to tackle anything and get tough. That's why we call it Tough Day.
That's great. That's great. And you're getting a lot of good responses, because I know a lot of people, the research shows that people are preferring to talk to machines than people, because machines are more accurate, they're less judgmental.
Right. Well, our AI is trained on management best practices and next practices, HR best practices and next practices, employment law, and any organizational knowledge. So their employee handbook, their policies and processes. So we're really learning and contextualizing the experience for an organization. So when their employees come in, they're getting the objective expert guidance, but they're also getting it contextualized to that organization and how they do things.
That's amazing. Could you share with us how this could help an employee who might be struggling with workplace dynamics? There's so many things happening that makes people feel like, I wish I had somebody to talk to. Share with us what might be something that.
Yeah, we can pull up the screen. I was actually playing with one this morning, but I will say, like, what's very unique and what I think is magical about what we're doing here is we've trained this AI to be very curious. So when you come in, it's a safe place for you to start asking questions as an individual. And through that process of curiosity, the AI asking you questions and kind of exploring your emotions and concerns and the details of your situation, we can help to diagnose what the actual situation is and then provide the right guidance. So in this case, I'm role playing. I'm actually very bullish on AI, as you might imagine. But I'm role playing here, being someone who is very nervous about AI, and I don't mention that right away. So I come in. This is the typical experience. You can always start a new chat over here. So our AI is called Tuffy, and when you come in, I'm role playing working at a company called FOMO, which is a tech company, a marketing tech company, and I'm in marketing. And it's asking what's going on, and I say I'm freaked out about layoffs, potential layoffs, and you can see the AI's empathetic and compassionate. I understand how worrying that can be. What specific changes led to this concern? Has there been any communication about layoffs? And I say, well, management keeps saying we need to use AI, encouraging us to use AI in our work, and that scares me. Okay, so now it's saying like, oh, it's very natural to feel uneasy with new technology, and it's asking what really concerns me about AI and job security in that context. Well, and I say, I think it can help me be more efficient. I'm worried that that AI will create a need for fewer people. And I've heard on podcasts that some marketing department wants to eliminate their marketing department within 1 year, and everyone needs a new job. So now the AI is saying, well, it's understandable to feel concerned about job security with AI, and kind of asking ultimately if I want to discuss strategies or skills to focus on to help me. And I say, and specifically it mentions some strategic or creative aspects of AI that can't be fully replicated, or the human can do and AI can't fully do yet. And so I say, sure, I'd like to know more about that. AI excels here in handling routine tasks, but it's more nuanced with human skills, giving me a little bit of guidance. What I really liked about this was it's suggesting that I emphasize the areas of my role where AI could be beneficial and asking me if I'd like to develop those skills. Some say yes. And then it starts giving suggestions like strategic decision making or understanding market trends or consumer behavior and things like that. So I'm then getting a little concerned. Like, this sounds like a lot of work to learn these skills. And it sounds like school, and school is not fun. So what do you mean by like looking at case studies? And it says, I understand your hesitation, and really you shouldn't worry. Case studies are just real world examples. So let me show you some. And I say, sure, okay, show me some. And then it gets into, we go in through some different ways that AI could apply to a marketing job. And I'm just going to kind of scroll down, right? But it gets into understanding how this applies to to my work and understanding my audience, and it gives me some suggestions about how AI could be used. And I want to know more about understanding audience interest with AI, and it gives me some more examples. But I don't like those examples because they seem like historical data, and I actually want to anticipate what's coming next and what interests them now. And then it says, yeah, you're right, actually, like these strategies can be used to predict the future, and here's some ways to do that. And okay, so now I'm really excited, and the AI is helping me start to forecast trends and consumer needs. And then I get worried, should I tell my manager that I'm actually doing this and I'm going to use AI to do this? Because if it goes wrong, he might hold it against me. And if it goes right, then he might be mad that I use this tool without asking. And so it's starting to now say, like, actually, transparency with your manager is a really good idea. And how do we build your confidence to communicate very transparently and seek guidance of your manager on this topic? And so it's giving some examples and how to message my boss and keep it concise, and how to structure my communication. And then we draft an email kind of structure, what I need to cover. And I say the structure is great, but can you actually write this email for me? And then it does. You read the email, and then it's like, okay, but like I want to have some creative ideas in there because my manager really likes creative ideas. And so it rewrites the email, giving some very specific examples that would be fun for my manager to engage with me on this topic. So you can see this could go on and on and on, but that's the big idea here, is that the AI is first building your confidence and helping like reduce the anxiety and stress, and then moving you into accountability and action.
I just love that. I just feel it's like having a personal coach right by your side, like dealing with that anxiety, as you say, but then turning it into an actual solution.
Yeah.
And you can always go back. You can see I've had lots of conversations, but one of the other nice things is the AI is summarizing each of these previous conversations. And you can go back and see what are the top articles or sources that our AI was using to create that conversation, to have that conversation with you and link through. So, you can go back and go deeper if you'd like to.
This is amazing. And I was thinking, why this makes so much sense for people who believe that, you cannot replace thinking with machine. It's not about that. We need to think about the complementary skills that that AI brings to us. And one more thing, as a licensed psychotherapist, we know this. I know this. It's very important for people to express, release, and discuss and talk about the feelings that they are having, the emotions and the fears, because once you express and verbalize, there is something that happens in the brain that allows you to gain new information. Think about those times when you're ruminating by yourself. Rumination leads to much more anxiety, much more dark times for yourself. But when you start expressing, you have a way of dialoguing. I felt that when you just went through here, Catherine. First, you feel the anxiety of this, and then you feel like, wow, I'm getting like open windows that I can breathe again and I can explore. I felt more capable of doing something for myself just watching you. So I truly believe that we need to think about what is the underlying impact of this. This is creating psychological safety. This is creating resilience. This is creating much more capacity to tolerate what's happening today. Sorry, Cully, I cut you before.
No. And it's building on all of that. I just wanted to ask a question. Like, if I'm an employee and putting that information into a tool which is provided by the company, it was more a question for you, KVJ, just thinking about, will my boss even know? Like, is it safe to be sharing this information and from protection and all a privacy perspective?
Yeah, and if you can hear my dog in the background, sorry about that. Squirrel season. Okay, so to keep it safe, I mean, first of all, our platform it lives outside your organization. So we're creating every instance for your employees. And you can think of it a little bit like your healthcare solutions or EAPs, that employers give access and to employees to a platform like this, but they sign in, validate they're an employee, and create that profile with their personal email. So that's first and foremost a safe place. They can feel like they can ask anything and no one's going to find out in their company. And what we are giving back to employers is in anonymized insights and anonymized data. So the employer will know what are the issues in my organization where we need to develop more training, or make it a more frictionless employee experience, or whatever the issues are. But for the employee, this is their place and their guide, and there's no fear of retribution or asking a dumb question. They can kind of get it all out. And just from an AI perspective, none of the PII goes back to hit the LLM. So we remove the name of the user, any names that they mention of like a manager or something going on, and the name of their company is not hitting the LLM. So it's keeping it really safe for them, and we're doing that customization on the front end.
And KVJ, because I know the history of your development is amazing, how careful you guys have been. And I know interpersonal dynamics can be a big deal for people entering the workplace, and they don't know if some behaviors are okay, some behaviors are not okay. With that privacy in mind, is it fair to assume that the organization becomes aware of the topics that are most often raised in the platform?
Absolutely.
So we can address cultural problems that we might have?
Absolutely. And it becomes part of the sort of HR engine room to know, you can see in an employee survey what's going on, but this is real-time data on a day-to-day basis that they can see anonymized. What are the topics of concern? So across the board, when we're, when there's an issue, let's say something happens in your company and all of a sudden everyone's asking about that, we can say, hey, look, something might have been communicated wrong. Like everyone's asking about this topic, or it's for them to figure out what is actually behind that insight. But at least we alert them.
Amazing. The word access keeps coming back. Access to a resource like this will diminish the impact of all the things that happen when you don't have access to solve problems. Then you start chit-chatting with other people. There is gossip, and then there is turmoil. There is so many things that might interfere with the dynamics of the team. This gives access to resources. But then organizations have access to real deep listening without intruding into somebody's privacy. That's amazing. That's really
It's about 50% of people never say anything or handle their situation. So those topics fester, and that they might tell their colleagues and gossip about it, but they're not really doing anything about it. And that's a risk for the organization itself. And then it turns out 25% of managers' time is spent handling conflict, and those messes that never got resolved early escalate into something a lot messier. So imagine that managers spend over a day a week just managing conflict. That's a lot of wasted time where they could be out with customers and ideally, and it's just pain. Like, we can prevent mental health issues if we can get to people early and help them understand their situation and get back to work in a healthy, happy, productive way.
I love that, because people leave, right, because they don't deal with issues or because of the way their manager's responding to things. And so I just love the idea of having this resource to help you, guide you. It helps, right? People are going to be more productive, more effective. There's going to be a healthier workforce. And then I'm just linking it back to that ultimate 3-day week that we're going to envision, right? Imagine us all actually enjoying work, having more productive days and working less, and ultimately to help us all. So I'm super excited. I'd love to just, one final question for you, KVJ, is just what do you see? Where do you see this app going and how it can help companies?
Well, I do see this becoming part of your daily kind of work experience, that it is your workplace sidekick, that you kind of always on. You have your own person you can ask, like, for guidance or help, or even just vent to a little bit. And what's great is when you start venting, it will kind of lead you back to like, well, let's think about that. What's really going on here? So, we've had people say it's their workplace therapist, it's their workplace sidekick, and I'd love to see that kind of that come to fruition and be there for workers who are really trying to thrive in a whole new world of work.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, KVJ. I think there are some links on the comments if you want to access Tough Day, tough.day. KVJ is on LinkedIn as well.
We have one question actually for you, KVJ. Should we
Oh,
go there
good.
first? Yeah. Is there a risk of the AI giving bad advice? How do you oversee the messaging that aligns with the company culture?
Yes. Well, the answer is we have an amazing partner, Fisher Phillips, who is one of the top employment law firms on the planet, and they have also been part of creating an AI product called CoCounsel, which is the first AI to pass the bar in the top 10%. They are amazing partners of ours, helping us red team and guardrail. So we have 12 partner level lawyers helping us every day to ensure safety. And every time we implement this with a company, we are doing company specific red teaming. So we are very confident in the safety of our platform when you allow your people to come in and use it. We work together to make sure it's safe.
Amazing. KVJ, thank you so much again. Tough.day is going to be a huge success. So if you're interested, Catherine's on LinkedIn. Thank you so much. This was really great.
Thank you, KVJ.
Cully, maybe we have time for a few questions.
I believe so. And I think Gabby's joining.
Yes. Please feel free if you're watching to add any last minute questions in the chat. We'd love to answer those specifically in this Q&A session. But we have received some questions in the past that we also want to address. So one of the questions that has come up on this area around AI and our careers is how can I actually identify which skills to prioritize? We're talking about adapting and adding new skills, right? What resources can we use for an affordable price on ongoing education and upskilling?
Very good one. Cully?
Yeah, sure. So I love just like Catherine's, use of AI to help us identify the skills. So use AI to think about which field you're in and where you want to be and which skills will be most relevant. And then there are just so many affordable, I think, even free courses available at sort of within Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, a lot of the colleges. Obviously, those are going to be a little bit more pricier, but there are a lot of just foundational courses in sort of even AI prompts, right? If you're not used to using AI at all, there's obviously a technique to asking the right questions and being able to get the information you need. That's a foundational, which there's tons of courses out there available right now, or even YouTube videos. So I feel key is just to get started using AI to see what's out there, and then being able to dabble into and build your certifications, build your experience to be able to dig deeper into a certain field.
But also going back to experiences, we need to start learning from our own experiences, lived experiences, because the skills that are going to be most relevant are the skills that AI cannot cover right now, right? So the human capabilities of empathy, compassion, the idea of listening actively to seek more understanding and go beyond the understanding and maybe infer something that wasn't said. AI cannot infer something that wasn't said.
And that compassion, right? Kind of building that connection and compassion, which is
and creativity. Remember, we talked about this too. Creativity, the skills of sense making. Of course, the machine, if you put everything there and ask, there will be a lot of logical explanations for what's happening. But it's not about the logical explanations. It's about understanding the context of your organization, understand the nuances of the interactions that you perceive, that only you sense, not as being said, but you perceive how the people are interacting with each other. You start gaining information that you couldn't otherwise. So
Mm.
don't underestimate your human capabilities, your lived experiences, because those are skills. Sensing the environment, knowing when to interject, when to be quiet. Those
Mm.
are incredible skills that I think are going to be emerge as the top skills for any organization.
And it sort of comes back to leadership skills, right? All of that. And it's not just leadership and leading a team, but leading yourself through whatever's coming next. So, and the thing we have to keep reminding ourselves is these are all learnable, right? Kind of, we can be more curious, we can be more compassionate, we can be more empathetic. So, being open to all of this is what's key.
And there is we talk about team-based organizations because I think everything now, people say skills-based organizations, but that's the foundational piece.
Mm.
What you need to think is about what are the visionaries in your organization? What are the things that are really intangible but are incredibly valuable? And in my book, I talk about reciprocity alignment as a skill. We lost the ability to create reciprocal relationships. They are not it for that. It's like reciprocal. It's
Mm.
about understanding what's important to you, understanding what's important to me,
Mm.
sharing what's important to others, and start having the idea that nobody works in isolation and you cannot do a one-way communication and expect success.
Mm.
Reciprocity alignment is aligning to your company's goals and purpose, aligning to other teams' purpose.
Mm.
Because if you're all in teams, we're all going to be leaders. I truly believe we all need leadership skills from the beginning. So I think those you can start there. The technical skills, there's plenty of resources.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. How do we connect together to get things done? Love it.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. And I will go ahead and say it because neither of you will. If you are struggling in this very specific area and you know you want to adapt your career, but you're not really sure how, executive coaches are here to support you with exactly that, navigating your career. So,
Sure.
folks like Ignition Coaching, great to reach out to. Wagner is also someone who understands organizational change. So, if you're a leader who is supporting a huge shift, like adapting innovation, and you're not sure how to adapt it for your team or organization, please reach out to him. This is really, truly, there are resources available to you. I think we have time for one more question, and I will
Okay.
ask one that I think is particularly fascinating to me, which is about positioning yourself in a really competitive market, right? How do you really allow yourself to put yourself in a space of building a personal brand on a social media platform, on LinkedIn, as we are here, to make yourself visible to the potential future hiring managers for roles that will exist or don't exist yet, and that could be a good fit for you?
That's a big one. Cully, do you want to start?
I'll just go by saying be comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's hard, and for me, I'm not comfortable with it at all. But even say doing this, right? Coach Cast was a huge leap of faith for me, and we recorded our Wave program, and that was kind of a big thing. I hated being in front of the camera, so I'd say be comfortable with the uncomfortable, have the courage to try new things, speak where you can, find the opportunities to get out there, build your brand on LinkedIn, join certain groups, have the conversations, just start somewhere. I feel it's important. We can't hide away.
Thank you. And one thing that I would compliment is unwavering commitment to what you believe in. Because as business owners, we know this, right? It goes up and down. There are moments that you feel like, what's happening? And then there's moments that say, oh, this is great. So life is going to go up and down. Your career is going to go up and down. But take from me, when I got the job at IBM, I love this story. Let me just tell you in 2 seconds. I just wrote a letter to the head of talent in GNI there. I had never had an organization job. I didn't have a corporate job ever until IBM. And I just sent an email saying, I have the conviction that I can add value to IBM because I believe in your values. Please consider me for a position. After 3 weeks, they said, I sent you, and he answered, I'm going to send you HR, which was a miracle. and HR didn't know what to do with me. And they asked me, what do I do with you? You don't have experience. What do I do? I'm just interviewing you because somebody asked me. I said, I don't know what you do, but I can be your greatest cultural evangelist because I truly believe in your values. And then I told them the 3 values. I got hired in 3 weeks as an organization capability and executive capability consultant. So don't underestimate the opportunity to try. Just try. There's so many new ways of reaching people. Just try, because but don't miss, and don't assume that people are not responding because they don't like you, because that's a big mistake that we make.
People are just busy, right? Kind of, and it's too much information, right? Yeah. So don't take it personally, and just put yourself out there and be comfortable with that.
That's it. So no playbook.
Difference. Sorry, I was just saying, if you feel like you're making a difference to one person, right? One person's listening, that's a step in the right direction.
So, Cully, just to wrap up here, there is no playbook.
Yes.
There's no road to lead to your destination. There is just directions.
Yeah.
And courage, the human capabilities are going to give you the best opportunity to try something new and gain some skills.
Exactly. Be yourself and continue to grow and evolve. And thank you for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Cully. Thanks, Gabby.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Please know that we would love to stay connected. You can visit us at coachcast.org, and you can also visit us on our YouTube channel for CoachCast to visit any of our previous episodes. Also, please know that next month we will be skipping our CoachCast Live on the 5th because in the United States here, we're going to be on our general election day. Please take that day to go vote. Whatever way you go vote. Please vote. We would love your support in that way. And then we'll be back on December 3rd to discuss employee well-being and mental health in an age of constant change. So wonderful. We are so grateful you were with us today. Thank you for your time, for your questions and your energy. Thank you to Catherine for joining us. And we will see you all next time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care. Bye.